My boy Jimmy High Roller, who I kind of dissed in my last video. I think it was my last video. I don't remember. Posted a video. The NBA is rigged. I don't think I've done a reaction video on my channel yet, so we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna react to this. Let's get into it. Oh my gosh, bro. We ain't got time for advertisements. Alright, I get you paying your bills and everything, but come on now. Turn it down some. So I'm not blasting y'all's ears, you know what I'm saying? Give me a file. This is just a matchup between the beast and the horse beast. Hey, look. Michael Porter Jr., you gotta learn how to throw the ball around, you know what I'm saying? You gotta stop chucking them shots. You're not prime Klay Thompson. You're not Steph Curry. You can't do that. You're not on that level. Come on now. At least y'all win. Alright? Y'all in the finals. Should have been the Warriors, but it's whatever.
The good old hot take. The necessary evil of the sports world. Through the good ones, the bad ones, and the downright atrocious ones. We once again find ourselves racking our brains, trying to figure out how some people come up with this nonsense. But today, I've done the brain racking for you, and found some of the hottest NBA takes on the internet. NBA Finals Edition. So, buckle up. This may be a bumpy ride.
Shout out to Jimmy
Today's
High
video
Roller.
is sponsored by Liquid
you paying your
IV.
bills?
This
I
summer,
respect
stay
it.
focused
what the
and
heck?
fueled with Liquid
I get it,
IV.
I get it. You gotta pay your bills. I respect it. But
1 year of free Liquid.
you know what I'm saying? We gotta get into the video.
What better time to
shout out
take
to
a
Jimmy
look
High
at
Roller.
some
His
hot
videos
takes?
are
Per
very
usual, I
entertaining.
immediately regretted this decision, but it had to be done. So let's jump right in. Now, our first take has been around for decades, and regardless of how insane
look,
it
man.
is,
Mayan. Oh, what the heck? Mayan. The fuck? 400p? The hell? Why does it look that blurry? Whatever.
it had to be done. So let's how insane it is.
Let me stop
Fans
messing around,
continue to
'cause-
say that the NBA is rigged and scripted. And to that I say, what? First of all, reality is stranger than fiction. The best way to create incredible, captivating moments in sports would be to not script them. You think some dude rigged Kevin Durant eviscerating his calf in front of tens of millions of people? Or what about the Nuggets just sweeping the Lakers? Wouldn't it make infinitely more sense to allow most series to go into 6 or 7 games for more revenue? We had a very
Yeah, the rest were trying to help they boy LeBron trying to get to another finals to, you know, continue on his legacy. But Jokic said, nah, man. And they just put their nuts all over the Lakers. Pause. Okay, pause, alright.
very real chance at a Celtics-Lakers finals this season. In what universe do the script writers not choose that outcome? I wonder what Chris Paul thought when he got the script and saw that Luka Doncic was gonna walk him like a dog on his way to his 87th second-round exit. If the NBA was truly rigged, why on earth would the most lucrative franchise in the league have virtually no success over the last 20 years? Oh, your team is
Who?
one of the 29 teams that didn't win a
you talking
championship
about?
last. Would the most lucrative franchise in the league have virtually no
Talking about New
success
York? I
over
don't
the
know.
last this season? It couldn't be that they just weren't good enough. It's because the basketball overlords didn't have it in the script. The biggest suspicion comes from the way refs officiate the games, handing out more fouls to one team than another, making
Like the
odd
Lakers.
calls during crucial
Let's
points
be
in the
real.
game. And believe
Refs
me,
were-
brothers, I'm right there
the
with
refs,
you. If
they
I
were-
had
they
a
were
dollar
helping.
for
The
every
whole
suspect
Warriors
call I
series,
saw in an NBA game, I'd have enough
Warriors
money to
had,
start
like,
my own franchise
Lakers
to
had,
complain
like,
about.
twice
But
as many
that's
free
just
throws
the
as the
nature
Warriors
of
did,
sports.
but
Sometimes
whatever.
things go your way, sometimes
It
they
don't matter.
don't. As much as we would like for refs to be
Dang.
mindless robots who
He's
get
playing my
every call
defense.
correct, they're human, just like us, and they make mistakes. This guy says the
Playing street ball
NBA is
defense.
colluding to get the Lakers into the playoffs.
They
I
are.
guess the NBA
Come
also
on.
colluded to get them swept in the
They
conference
were.
finals. I know it's tough to watch
There's
your
no
team
excuses
lose,
for the Lakers,
but
man.
of all the excuses we can make as fans, can we please stop resorting to this one? This
There was
is a
no
bad
excuses
take.
'cause they traded
Now, this
away
next
Westbrook
take
for
comes
all
from
these
my
role
man, Bill
players.
Simmons, who had this to say
I mean,
about
nobody
this year's
expected them
Nuggets
to
team.
get that far
This
anyways,
Nuggets
but
team, is the best team I've seen in person.
I thought they
in
said
5
Ben
years.
Simmons. Let's say Ben
Since the
Simmons. Your opinion
2018
does not
Warriors.
matter. You
Not
cannot
just
hoop.
better, but really
You're not even a hoop.
probably beats anybody
You
the
just-
last 4 years.
Now, when I first heard this,
I don't even know what you
thought
are.
that
You
can't
ain't no
be
hoop
true,
either.
But it actually might be.
You just
of
the-
course,
you're the
there's no way to
backboard.
know for sure, but
You know what I'm
going back
saying?
through the last 8 teams to make the NBA Finals, the
You a
2023
plastic
Nuggets
backboard.
do look like possibly the best team. Now, this is all just an opinion, but I think this year's Nuggets team would have beaten the 2022 Celtics and Warriors. They
Stop. Stop it. Stop it now, alright, Jimmy High Roller? You listen here, man. That Warriors team last year was different. I know y'all didn't have Jamal Murray, who's been cooking all playoffs, and I respect that. But the Warriors bench was so much different than it was now. Warriors still would have won, but it would have been a lot closer. Alright, let's be real. Alright? Just get off the nuts, Jimmy High Roller. I get it though. They've been cooking, alright? But no. Stop it.
would have beaten the 2021
Stop it.
Suns and the 2020 Heat, and they would have probably taken down the 2019 Raptors. The two teams that I think are debatable are the 2020 Lakers and the 2021 Bucks. But if we look at some postseason metrics from these teams, the Nuggets are on pace to being the best team since the 2019 Warriors. In the moment, it may
Yeah.
not feel like it, but this Nuggets team is incredible. They beat a loaded Suns team that had the most lethal two-man offensive game in the NBA. They swept a Lakers team that beat the defending champs, and they've done it
With the
all
refs.
in historic fashion.
All right.
The
be real.
2023 Nuggets may just be the best team since the
Curry would have
2019
won at least
Warriors.
one game
The eye
against the
test
Lakers.
backs this
Not
up,
Lakers, sorry.
and the stats do
Nuggets.
as well.
We
Now,
being
this next
honest,
take comes from a
they
fan who
wouldn't go
says
out
that
like-
if
like
the
the
Heat
Lakers
become the
did,
first
alright?
team to win a championship as an 8 seed,
Never.
it automatically becomes
Never
the
would get
greatest
swept.
playoff run in NBA history. Well, let's look at some of the greatest, or rather improbable, playoff runs throughout the league's history. The 2011 Mavericks
Mm-hmm.
are considered by many to have the greatest playoff run of any team. As
That
a
run
3
was
seed, the
different.
Mavs beat a 48-win Blazers team. They beat the reigning champions in the Lakers and Kobe Bryant. They beat a young 55-win Thunder team, but most importantly, they beat the Miami Heat and their Big Three in 6
Yeah.
games. A series in which everyone and
How you
their
get owned
mother
by it?
thought Miami was
This dude
going
looks
to win.
homeless. How you
But
getting
one of
owned
the
by
most
him, LeBron?
overlooked runs was
Come
back in
on, man.
1995 when the
Shout out to
Houston
Dirk.
Rockets won an NBA championship as
Best-
a
one of the best
6
power
seed,
forwards of all
currently
time.
the lowest seed to ever win a title. If some of y'all aren't familiar with this playoff run, it's almost hard to believe what this team pulled off. Because on their way to a championship that postseason, Houston beat a 60-win Jazz team with Malone and Stockton, a 59-win Suns team with 2 All-Stars in Charles Barkley and Dan Marley, a 62-win Spurs team featuring the league MVP and David Robinson, and a 57-win Magic team with Shaq and Penny. A few years ago, I made a video on the most difficult championships ever won, and the Rockets
I see a lot of people. I seen that video. The Rockets had the. Wait. I'll get that later. Who would you rather have, Hakeem or Shaq? I see some people comparing the two. Like, who would you rather have on an all-time starting lineup, or whatever? Honestly, I gotta ride my boy Shaq. You know what I'm saying? Hakeem, some of the best footwork of all time. All right, he had some of the best techniques, post spin, whatever. I didn't watch his game, but I've seen a lot of Shaq's highlights. He's the definition of dominance. Nobody except Yao Ming. Yao Ming did his thing against yeah, you know what I'm saying. But like Shaq, definition of dominance. You know what I'm saying. You know one of the big reasons why they three-peated. You know, also Kobe. You got to give him some credit too. You know, but Shaq, he won the Finals MVP 3 times, and then he went on with D-Wade, won another ring. So, I don't know. I gotta ride with my boy Shaq. I just seen more Shaq highlights, you know what I'm saying? But
Rockets
it's not
title in
important.
1995 was ranked number 1. In fact, if we add up the total amount of regular
Stop running on
Oh
the treadmill
my
every
gosh,
single
bro.
day,
Come
or
on
I'm gonna
now.
jump in this pool. Carbs are not
Shut up.
the
Nobody
problem.
cares.
That problem.
Nobody
regular
cares.
season wins from all the teams the Rockets beat that postseason, we get a whopping 238 wins. Compare that with the 2011 Mavericks and this year's Heat, as well as some other metrics, and it's clear that the Rockets had a much more difficult path to a championship. But the 95 Rockets did have a solid squad surrounding Hakeem, with players like Clyde Drexler, Vernon Maxwell, Kenny Smith, Sam Cassell. This was a good team. The 2023 Heat, however, have absolutely no business even being in the finals. It's literally
They got a whole
Jimmy,
bunch of
Bam,
brown
and the
shirts on the court.
undraftables. Even the Mavericks in 2011 are a criminally underrated team. They were the 3 seed going into the playoffs
Hooping with a
with
bunch of
57 wins.
65
They had an
overall,
awesome
man,
core
not
of
even
players,
70
and they
overall.
were easily one of
Come
the
on
best
now.
teams in the league that season. They just had to make it
Give the
past
Heat some
the
respect.
heavy favorite to win it all. This year's Heat team was never favored in the postseason. From the very first series, they were expected to get sent home, and 2 of their core players have virtually sat the entire playoffs. So between the 1995 Rockets and the 2023 Heat, it's close. The Rockets had a more difficult path, but the Heat were expected to have absolutely no chance at all. You could make a great argument that
I don't
if
know,
the
'cause
Heat
the
win a
Heat played
championship
against-
this year, it would be
Number 1 Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I know he missed 1 game. I think he might have had like a triple-double game 5, something like that. I forgot. They won at least 1 game. And then they played against the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks, you gotta respect them. They're a playoff team. Don't disrespect them like that. They made it past the second round. It's not important. They almost sweep Boston, but whatever.
the greatest
I don't know what I'm
playoff
talking
run
about.
in
Yeah, really
NBA
sure.
history. And so this is a good take. And our last take comes from the legend himself, Mike Breen. During Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Breen had a take about Nikola Jokic that some people didn't really appreciate. And one of those people was in the booth with him.
You marvel at his complete game.
Alright, we back. My fault. I had to answer a call and all that, but
He passes like magic. He rebounds like Moses. Shoots like Dirk.
Rebounds like Moses? Are you?
Moses Malone.
I know. You want to check yourself?
Now, Mike Breen has watched a lot of basketball. He knows the game, and as much as this take seems like a reach, is it really? Breen says that Jokic shoots like Dirk, which is about the highest praise a big
hey,
man
he
can get.
just be chucking them things up. And it goes in. Nothing but net, wet like water. How you do that? You can't even practice those shots, alright? Without it just being luck, straight luck. But it looks like he practices them because it's just wet every time. Pause.
And the numbers
Junk is
support
nice.
this. Well, kind of.
Look at that.
You know my
Oh my
favorite
gosh,
ring
bro.
around was 87. And Larry missed that jump shot.
Are you seriously?
Short
Come on
jumpers,
now.
Jokic is historically efficient. Both Dirk and Jokic are equally as deadly with their long jumpers, and Dirk is a noticeably better three-point shooter. But there's context missing here, because Nikola Jokic only shoots 39% of his shots from outside 10 feet, whereas Dirk shot a whopping 77% of his shots from outside 10 feet. As efficient as the Joker is, Dirk is the gold standard for a shooting big.
Like I
Green
said,
also said Jokic passes the
5
ball
power
like
forwards of
magic.
all time.
And sure,
No
Jokic
debate.
isn't the engine to the most exciting show in all of basketball, but in terms of moving the rock and getting open looks for his teammates, Jokic does pass like magic. In my opinion, Magic Johnson is still the greatest passer the game has ever seen. Jokic isn't quite that, but if you were to give your top 5 passers in NBA history, who would be on your list? Magic, Steve Nash, LeBron James, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd. Maybe you got John Stockton, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas.
Where's
But
me on that
Nikola
list?
Jokic is undoubtedly in this discussion. And the last
Touchdown.
comparison that Breen gave was
He
that
just be chucking
Jokic
them up, bro.
rebounds
And it works.
like Moses Malone. And this is where Mark Jackson really lost it, as if the statement was a massive reach.
Look at that.
Because it kind of is. Moses Malone was a 6-time
Crazy.
rebounding champion, arguably the greatest rebounder of all time. Moses had an 8-year stretch where he averaged 15 rebounds a game. Jokic can rebound with the best in the league, but he's not quite the board-grabbing machine that Moses was. So, in Breen's defense, Jokic can almost pass like magic, he's nearly the shooter Dirk was, and he's not quite the rebounder Moses Malone was. So, although it's a bit of a stretch, I do like this take. But unfortunately,
It's kind of
that's
a
all
mix
the
of a
ranking
little
my
bit of
brain can
everything, you
handle
know
in
what I'm
one
saying?
sitting. But y'all know the drill.
Like
Leave a comment with your
obviously
hot
those 3 guys do it better than him. Those main things, but he's like a mix of a little bit of everything. You can see little shades of that, you know what I'm saying?
take, and as usual, the hotter, the better. Or worse. Hope you all enjoy it. And as always, until next time.
It was a good video. I ain't got nothing to say, cause he kind of just explained it all. And yeah, we out.